Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, cats and kittens, welcome to the dark side of the podcast. Big round of applause. We're sporting the AMP shirt. We got the jackal hat and lots of energy, guys. We are ready tonight. The podcast is your home for rational crypto news and objectivity, leaving emotion at the door, talking about what we like, why we like it, and where we see it going. We are not offering financial advice. Who would do that in this market? We are telling you what we do, and that is all. We don't slow down. We don't let up. Full speed is our only speed. I'm your host, Scott, pragmatic investor who has won and lost fortunes. Joining me, as always, is the greatest producer of all time, Belle. How are you doing tonight, Belle?
You know what? I'm amped up, especially after hearing that tune. And yeah, that's going to stay stuck in my head for days now because that's the first time I've heard it in a while.
You know, there's worse songs. And I noticed that you are sporting the Bicana t-shirt. So way to represent. Bicana's been excellent to us. So way to represent. And I appreciate it. I'm sure they will as well. Here at the podcast. Oh, I'm sorry. I just cut Eric completely out of it. We are also joined by Astrovault Eric. Eric, how are you doing tonight, sir?
Doing great, Scott. Thanks for having me back, man.
Yeah, dude. I haven't whipped you up a screen, so your little moniker there still says Bella the producer. Just pretend you're Bella tonight, man. All right, fem it
I
up.
always do.
It's gonna be cool.
He's
What?
identifying as the Bella. Everyone's doing it now. It's okay.
Yeah, that works out. Here at the podcast, we have a tendency to talk about what others are not talking about and bringing the focus onto use case cryptos. Because as we know, these are what drive the market and bring innovation to a world that desperately needs it. The status quo, it's no longer acceptable. It's time for a technological revolution. Welcome to crypto and welcome to the podcast. And again, thank you. Before I get into it, by the way, I love the monologue because this is mine and I can do whatever the hell I want. I listened to an AMA with Cosmo Haas last night out on Twitter, and they were interviewing Decenter. You guys remember them? Decenter. It's actually a really, really cool browser, and it's free. It's built, it's built on Chromium, so you're going to be very, very familiar with it. Worth a look. That's all I'm going to put out. They have a lot of good plans. I'm not telling you to buy that token, man, because God help them. But it's a really, really nifty product. So if you like to support small Cosmos products, that one is definitely worth a look to you. So please give it a little bit of consideration. So as I did on the last live stream, and as I will be doing on every live stream going forward, guys, we are starting this off with a little bit of political philosophy. Sorry, this is not your cup of tea. It is absolutely my cup of tea. I'm 100% passionate about this. So we started out. I'm doing this to show you why I'm in crypto. Yeah, honestly, I'm not just doing it to say, "Oh, look at me." I'm saying this is my rationale for being in crypto. The real reason that I'm over here, instead of just protecting my money, taking my smaller gains, and living out in the legacy world. There's a reason that I'm over here, and believe it or not, it's all in a little set of pamphlets that was written by a man named Frederick Bastiat. It's probably Friedrich. He's French. That was written by Frederick Bastiat way back in 1850. And there is so much truth in this that it basically, I mean, it changed my life. The first time I read this, I was a little podcaster, but the first time I read this, it changed my life. It was my allegory of the cave. It was my awakening when I read this. So I just think it's kind of fun that I could share this with you, whether you're interested or not. And we're gonna get to the crypto, guys. We got some fun stuff to talk about tonight. There's a couple Osmo props up. We want to talk those up. There's a lot that we have to get to, but before we do, because the monologue still belongs to me, I just want to share this with you. Now, we started last time, we were talking about the law. What is the law? What is the purpose of the law? Because this matters, guys. If you're in crypto, this fucking matters more than anything else that you might see or hear about on Twitter. This really, really gets to the nut of it, and it just helps if you understand it. So we discussed the law, what it is, what it's for, what its purpose is. And now we're going to carry on, and we're going to talk about the complete perversion of the law, because this also really, really matters. Now, this is verbatim, straight from Bastiat. But, ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, Law by no means confines itself to its proper functions, and when it has exceeded its proper functions, it has not done so merely in some inconsequential and debatable matters. The law has gone further than this. It has acted in direct opposition to its own purpose. The law has been used to destroy its own objective. It has been applied to annihilating the justice that it was supposed to maintain, to limiting and destroying rights, which its real purpose was to respect. The law has placed, this is important right here, by the way, the law has placed the collective force, that's the people with the badges and the guns. The law has placed the collective force at the disposal of the unscrupulous who wish, without risk, to exploit the person, liberty, and property of others. It has converted plunder into a right in order to protect plunder, and it has converted lawful defense into a crime in order to punish lawful defense. How has this perversion of the law been accomplished, and what have been the results? The law has been perverted by the influence of two entirely different causes: stupid greed and false philanthropy. Let us speak of the first. Self-preservation and self-development are common aspirations among all people. And if everyone, you, me, Bell, Eric, enjoyed the unrestricted use of his faculties and the free disposition of the fruits of his labor, social progress would be ceaseless, uninterrupted, and unfailing. But there is also another tendency that is common among people. When they can, they wish to live and prosper at the expense of others. This is no rash accusation, nor does it come from a gloomy and uncharitable spirit. The annals of history bear witness to the truth of it. The incessant wars, mass migrations, religious persecutions, universal slavery, dishonesty in commerce, and monopolies. This fatal desire has its origin in the very nature of man, in that primitive, universal, and insuppressible instinct that impels him to satisfy his desires with the least possible pain. Man can live and satisfy his wants only by ceaseless labor, by the ceaseless application of his faculties to natural resources. This process is the origin of property. But, and here's where we go off the rails, guys, welcome to the U.S., but it is also true that a man may live and satisfy his wants by seizing and consuming the products of the labor of others. This process is the origin of plunder. Now, since man is naturally inclined to avoid pain, and since labor is pain in itself, it follows that men will resort to plunder whenever plunder is easier than work. History shows this quite clearly. And under these conditions, neither religion nor morality can stop it. When, then, does plunder stop? It stops when it becomes more painful and more dangerous than labor. It is evident, then, that the proper purpose of law is to use the power of its collective force to stop this fatal tendency to plunder instead of work. All the measures of the law should protect property and punish plunder. But generally, the law is made by one man or one class of men. And since law cannot operate without the sanction and support of a dominating force, those are the badges, those are the guns, this force must be entrusted to those who make the laws. This fact, combined with the fatal tendency that exists in the heart of man to satisfy his wants with the least possible effort, explains the almost universal perversion of the law. Thus, it is easy to understand how law, instead of checking injustice, becomes the invincible weapon of injustice. It is easy to understand why the law is used by the legislator to destroy in varying degrees among the rest of the people their personal independence by slavery, their liberty by oppression, and their property by plunder. This is done for the benefit of the person who makes the law and in proportion to the power that he holds. Now, I get it, folks. This isn't happening here. This doesn't happen in the U.S. It certainly doesn't happen in crypto. Our success or failure has nothing to do with legislative whims. It has nothing to do with the SEC. It has nothing to do with Washington at all. It's just us, right? Builders building new tech, new things coming out, new ideas, new innovation. It has nothing to do with the government. But it has everything to do with the government, because they will use their collective force to absolutely annihilate this if they can, because for the first time in a long time, crypto gives people individual responsibility for their own finances. Nothing over here is being subsidized by the U.S. government, by any government. Nothing. This is the Wild West. This is the way it should be. But we still have an overreaching government that SEC, Gary Gensler, that is going to do anything he can to get his fingers into this and try to shut it down. Now, personally, and I'll bring Eric in. I'll give him his 2 cents on this one. Now, personally, there's nothing that they can do, because your power stops outside of the borders of the United States. So there's really nothing you can do to completely shut it down, but you can absolutely gum it up, particularly when you're talking about speculative assets that move on rumor, particularly when you're talking about assets like Bitcoin. So, Eric, anything that you want to add to that, man, before I really carry on? And by the way, you got to know, you're going to be you're going to be outing yourself here. If you're not comfortable doing it, just say so.
No, dude, I love that you were reading Bastiat. I love everything about that. I mean, most of us who have found our way in crypto at this point, it wasn't just for speculation. It was an idealism. It was some libertarian front or ethos or resonation of like, hey, it is a gang that is running our government that can take whatever they want whenever they want to. Nobody is safe from them, even if they're attacking who you deem your opponents right now. They're just one law, one false flag away from it being you. And as soon as somebody's not safe, everybody's not safe. And Bastiat laid it out beautifully. I mean, my background's in philosophy. I love a nice, logical, step-by-step, solid philosophical argument like he gave. And there's tons of background about stuff like this. And he's right. Necessarily, governance always lead to taking more power than it would be to just preserve first principles rights. And there is no exception from that, aside from basically anarchy. So the bigger government gets, the more we see this taking place. And the more this takes place, the more we need to unify as a people and find our own types of checks and balances to revolt against them. And that is really the heart and the ethos of what Bitcoin and at least the early crypto movement was trying to do before it got to just pump me bags of NFT monkey pictures.
And you know what it is? It's your bit boys. It's these class clowns that have morphed this into something that is basically the wet dream of any libertarian, and they have morphed it into a carnival. They've morphed it into Peppy. They've morphed it into NFTs that have no actual use case. They've morphed it into quick riches, as these kind of hucksters have always done throughout their life. Now, personally, I know you're on Twitter, Eric, and we're gonna segue a little bit here, man, because I don't want to put people to sleep. I don't expect you to have my viewpoint at all. I just want to share this is why I'm in crypto. Now, what I do when I'm in here, that's a whole different animal. All right. Now, I make no apologies that I am mercenary capital. I don't back away from that. But my underlying reason for being here is exactly that, because nobody can get it. Well, hacks and all that stuff. But I'm saying that there's no subpoena in the world that is going to make me give over my seed phrase. Try. Go for it. I'm not going to do it. Now, what are you going to do? Because you're not going to crack it. You're not going to hack it. You're not going to do any of those things. But again, you get a class of people. And honestly, this applies so well to crypto because you get a class of people that exist over here simply promising riches. And watching their meltdowns are epic, absolutely epic. Eric, are you familiar? Did you happen to see what BitBoy did? I think it was last night. Did you happen to catch that?
Is that when he was getting arrested on live stream while coked out of his mind?
God, that was savage, dude. It was so there is beauty in destruction. And to me, man, that was absolutely beautiful. Did you actually watch the whole thing? I watched every bit of that, man. I could not wait.
I saw 40 seconds and I put my phone down. I was like, nope, I'm good.
So here's what you should not do, Belle. Belle, are you listening? Are you still with us, Belle?
I'm still here. I'm still listening.
So what you should not do, and ladies and gentlemen, if you're at home still watching this is your checklist. What you should not do is bring your mistress in your car with get coked up, bring your mistress with you, and a gun in the back seat as you go to outside the house of the person that you are well on record accusing of stealing from you to try to get your Lambo back. There is just so much bad in this. I mean, every single bit of this is checkmark. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. The funniest part to me is that he's well on record saying, well, I have all these lawyers. Your lawyer would have told you, don't do that. I mean, the worst lawyer on the planet. I don't know if we have any lawyers in the audience, but the worst lawyer in the planet should tell you, don't do that. Don't do what you just did. But for some reason, he wanted to do it. Now, I was entertaining on our Discord earlier that you should DCA your crimes. You shouldn't go all in on your crimes. And one of the things you shouldn't do is bring something that's going to add another 10 to 12 years on your sentence, like a firearm when you're coked up. I'm just saying, man, look, there's bad decisions, and then there's what the fuck were you thinking? And this is way, way up there. But guys, I will let you know that it did enable us to pick up a couple new channel sponsors. And both Belle and Eric are going to be reading one of our all about one of our new channel sponsors here, and they both happen to be around the BitBoy. So I have to give him props for self-destructing like that so publicly, because again, I think that there's beauty in destruction, but it also allows us to monetize sponsors. So guys, we're going to cut the monologue a little bit early. We got a lot more that we got to get to tonight, and there's a lot of money stuff going on here. So who wants the first go here? I'm asking either Eric or Belle.
Let's give Eric the first go, because I went first last time.
Okay. Well, Eric, I'm now posting your live read. And remember, this is a new channel sponsor, man. So you got to own this. All right. Don't rush through it. Take your time. You really got to sell it. Eric, are you ready?
Ready to support the channel, Scott.
All right. So there's your script, and take it away, sir. Do good.
And Scott, from your Bastiat reading of beautiful philosophy, it just makes too much sense to represent our sponsor, the BitBoy Fight the Power Fund. Friends, have you heard about the BitBoy? Well, sure you have. The BitBoy has done more for crypto than any single entity, and you know I'm right. But he ran into a bit of trouble recently, and he needs your help. Now, there may have been a slight error in judgment, like bringing a gun to the house of the person who allegedly robbed you. Optics, don't you know? But what you don't know is that this was all really Russian disinformation.
I gotcha.
It wasn't even the BitBoy. It was a plant. And the BitBoy has the proof. And he's not scared of you. He's not scared, but what he is broke. So now is the time, friends. Now is the time to help. Because he's done a lot. But there's so much more to do. So friends, you need to dig deep. Don't care if it's your very last dollar and you needed it for ramen noodles. The BitBoy needs it more. So give. Give to the point of night sweats. Take the kids out of their private schools, because the BitBoy would do it for you. He is now accepting both crypto and major credit cards. So help him fight the power, because next time it might be your Lambo that is stolen.
We will be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, cats and kittens, welcome back to the podcast. Thank you, thank you. I hope you guys are enjoying the energy tonight. I'm telling you, man, I'm fired up. I'm in a good place. I'm very excited about the market. This is a crypto channel, man. Look, I'm going to give you guys my context. Don't worry about that. We like to talk about what we're doing because that's the only reason that we do live streams. Well, that and for the funny. Personally, I think someone ought to chop out those live reads and just straight from the video, post them up on Twitter because those are funny, man. And we need more funny. Crypto absolutely needs more funny. So, with that, we're going to be turning this over to Eric because Eric has some opinions on some osmosis props that are coming up. Now, there's two of them. One is he's hot and heavy on this one. The second one I'm actually hot and heavy on. So, Eric, why don't you talk it up? Tell us about the new Osmo prop that has got you so that made you go a big rubbery one, man. Go ahead.
Yeah, so first and foremost, I fully support this proposal. But what it is basically Sonny went out like last week and he tweeted like, I honestly, in my opinion, I really think we should just get rid of the Osmo incentives for pretty much all of the pairs. Really only keep them if it's between two like of our pristine assets or whatever, where it's like ETH, Atom, Osmo, wrapped Bitcoin, USDC, and DAI.
Like
and
they
USDT.
should have did a year ago, that one?
Sure, I guess. I mean, everyone can have their opinion. The idea of like focusing on the core assets and not these other ones that people are using to farm. And people are supporting like, yeah, you're right. Yeah, we should focus on these ones. Focus on the assets that are making you money. Those ones aren't making the money. They don't actually make money from any of their pairs. I mean, just 5 of the delisted pools together make up over 10% of their volume. So if volume did equate to money, which again for them it still doesn't, then this actually is really hurting what would make the money, which still doesn't. The reason I'm fully in support of it is like we're already going around to everybody and being like, hey, you're incentivizing too much, or hey, you don't have an incentivized pair. And now we get to go to everybody and say you don't have an incentivized pair. Would you like one? So it's absolutely wild. You're seeing actual osmosis and osmosis grants employees going around and basically being publicly worried about the death spiral that they're in.
Yeah, that Umi was kind of a giveaway, man. That was if there was not a crypto flare that just went up, I want to say that was the crypto flare.
Yeah. So audience, if you are actively LPing in like Osmo with some other Cosmos layer 1, that's not Atom, then if this passes, which is currently on track to, you're going to lose any Osmo incentives that you're actively earning. So please, if you work for an L1 or you're close to them, get them in contact with me. We'd love to give you incentives for your liquidity provision.
You know, and it's funny, man, because if you go through looking through the LPs, most of them are bottomed out as it is already. And the thing that kind of bumps me out about that is that they de-incentivize some of their OGs. Some of the real OG tokens, the ones that were here first, the ones that were here that they paid them $250,000 to list. So their OG tokens, they completely de-incentivize some of those, such as DVPN, such as Bitcana, such as the use case products that I really like. I
think Axelar paid $1 million for 6 months.
No, they didn't pay $1 million
for 6 months, and they already wound down the rewards a ton. But now it's just going to go to like absolutely no rewards. Man.
Well, I mean, you look at some of these pools, man, and they're paying out like 80 tokens a day. That's like $20, man. You're paying out $20. Oh, give me some of that, man. Let me get on that. And they still never got rid of the lock-in. Who's gonna LP this? The only people who are LPing this are the actual L1s themselves. They're the only ones providing liquidity. Nobody's going to go out of their way to provide DVPN liquidity for like a 0.1%. ROI on this. You're just not going to. There's too much risk.
Liquidity. It bumps the 1% up to 4%.
For giggles,
notably less than just staking, while adding impermanent loss risk.
I
Don't
know.
worry about it.
I just for giggles up there, man. I jumped in. Which one did they do? It was a stable pairing on there. USDT and was it USDC? Axelar? I think that was
if it's the new Kava one where it's like 50-60% APR, but they have a max amount through Quasar. Like that's the pool to be in right now, but only like select few were able to get in.
Dude, I pushed like 25 grand in there. I just wanted to see. All right, look, man, these are stable. There's no real risk here. I just wanted to see it. And I was in there for a day and I earned less than a cent, less than a penny for a day. It cost me more to bond it and unbond it than I earned in 24 hours on $25,000. I'm like, you know what? This one, I'm not sure who's supporting this. This one might not be for me. But yeah, it's clear that this is not for me. Now, I'm planting flowers, Eric. All right, I'm spreading nothing but good news. I happen to be a fan of V3 style pools. I'm in some good ones over on Camelot. I happen to be a fan. I'm well aware of the risk. I would much rather take that risk with Ethereum than Osmo, because there's one thing I know about Osmo is that it can always go lower. But Ethereum has the community. I hate to say the word trust, because it's pegged to Bitcoin, man, and Bitcoin is what it is. But I'm more likely to stay in range on Ethereum than I think I will be on Osmo. So there's no incentive whatsoever for me to provide liquidity on there. So I'm not really sure what they got going on these. I mean, it's neat. It's a neat idea. Maybe you should have implemented this about a year ago before your token just hit 31 cents, which I believe might be the all-time low. Let's all look together, because this is what we do here. But I think you just hit the all-time low. Yeah, there you go, guys. This is what not paying attention to your DEX does. Osmo just hit the all-time low 2 hours ago. That is the all-time low. That is the lowest it can be. That means if any time in the existence of Osmo you purchased it and held it, you are down, period. There is effectively nobody up on this token at this time, unless you are a very, very active trader with it, and you can do better, man. You can do a lot better than Osmo. Now, I understand the necessity of the DEX. So even though I'm going to FUD it from an investment standpoint, I understand the necessity of the DEX, because something like Astrovault doesn't have 35 different tokens on it yet. So I have to deal with reality, and this happens to be the reality. And Eric's got an uphill battle here, man, because you're going to be fighting the whole IBC. You're going to be fighting that the whole way, even though I think you guys are a much better deal. Anyway, man, anything you want to add to that?
I mean, watching everything that we've said for the last year and a half come to fruition is making it a lot less of an uphill battle. Watching everyone else get their incentives taken away and being told pay for them yourselves, which is what we've said they're going to do for forever, just makes it a lot easier. As they add taker fees to just make it even more expensive for traders as a way of capturing value that's still hardly anything, just makes it easier. Everything that we said they were going to do and that we said was going to happen is happening, and it's a lot easier to go to everybody, as they're just throwing their market share away. We're just happy to pick up the pieces.
Well, I think it's funny is how do you defend this? You are at your all-time low. You have never been this low before, and it just happened 2 hours ago. So
you defend it with pillow fights.
I don't even know how you defend that, man. Maybe you could say,
but they did at OsmoCon.
I got a tattoo on my arm. You see it right there, guys? You see what that says? It says, "This too shall pass." I put that on my arm to remind myself, because I've been investing for a long, long time, that sometimes it gets bad. But I really see no way out on this one, man. I still don't see it. It's you buried so much big money, and you buried so many big investors, and you just lost so much. I don't even know. You know what? I'm not going to go there. I'll let them off the hook. Hey, Belle, are you still with us?
Yeah, I'm still with you.
Okay. Do we got any questions, comments, concerns, or observations? I don't want to make this all about I don't want to make this all about me.
All right. So first comment coming in from New Type, and guys, come on, let me do my job and give me some stuff to read. Okay, that you guys aren't chatting it up very much. New Type, you can't be a crypto investor if you don't hold Monero XMR. There's so much power in holding a private token you can use anywhere that can't be stopped or tracked. That's power.
You know what? I'll give you a round of applause for plugging Monero on my show. So I'll give you a round of applause for that. Sir, I understand where you're coming from. Now, I have a little bit of Monero, but I'm not, oh, God, it's niche, man. I don't know. Eric, what do you think?
My team and I are huge fans of Monero. Even just their tokenomics are what Bitcoin should adopt, where they do have tail emissions that make it practical, but it's still set inflation. It's still really low, and it's kind of diversely farmed. So yeah, I think Monero is what Bitcoin was supposed to be.
See, but I have to look at it from the point of an investor, and I'm sorry, man.
No.
It's absolutely niche. All right. And it's the same reason, even though I admire everything that Secret is doing, not the way they did it, but what they're trying to do. And I absolutely admire what they're trying to do. They became too big, too fast, and they absolutely shot themselves in the foot, and there was some malfeasance, and yeah. I admire what they're trying to do, but I can't invest
They're
in it.
doing fine. They just raised another $7 million for a different project.
Okay, should I pull up the token, dude? Because I'm pretty sure they just hit their ATL probably
Like
2
I
hours
said,
ago as well.
For a different project.
For it. Okay, there you go. Carry on, Bell.
Brozo Max, amp make me in huge losses. Pray for me.
Brozo Max. I don't know the name. I'm giving you a round of applause, brother. I appreciate you coming by. Look, man, I'm representing. All right. You know, I have so much stroke. I am such a huge influencer with 2 O's, influencer, that I can move the price of amp magically all by myself. But unfortunately, sir, you guys also hit your all-time low approximately 2 hours ago. And, man, God, you guys have been had. I don't know how else to say it here, man. I think you guys have been had. Crypto's tough, man. It is double tough, and it is triple tough if you go at it with blinders on. If you absolutely refuse to see reality, it gets even tougher, man. Now, AMP is kind of a cult of personality right now, even though I like what they're doing. I like the idea behind it. I think it's pretty cool. But you guys have had years and years to try to get this working. You've had effectively unlimited funds to try to get this working. And the people who are beating the hell out of you right now are your own developers who will tell you nothing, but you still support them. You guys you're vehement about it. Oh my God, you just don't know. So much that if I say anything negative, I'm banned from your Reddit. I'm banned from your Discord. I can't give my 2 cents because you simply don't want to listen to it. You're at your all-time low 2 hours ago. The token has never been as low as it was 2 hours ago. Maybe there's a problem. I'm just saying. Bell, please carry on.
Please, talking about BitBoy, he got booked for loitering.
Is that all it was?
Gangster.
Is that all it was loitering? Dude, you know what?
Well, on
Go ahead.
the spot, they may have taken him in for loitering, but I guarantee you that considering he was jacked out of his mind on coke, yeah, there are going to be more charges pending.
Do they do
unless he's able, our funds successfully able to raise enough bribe money for him, which is why we really need it.
Is why we really need to support the BitBoy Fight the Power Fund, man. Come on, guys, give till it hurts. I've never been booked. I've been, when I was in the Navy, when I was a young sailor, I might have had some run-ins with the law, but it was base patrol, it was shore patrol and stuff like that. If you're booked, do they draw blood? Do they check to see what you're on? Do they do that, Bell?
It depends on how you are physically. If you're acting out of your mind like he was, they're gonna actually take you to the hospital where blood work is going to be drawn because they don't know if you're about to keel over or not, and they don't want that liability.
Do they publicly disclose that, or do they keep that under wraps?
Oh no, when you are booked on charges, those are actually publicly listed.
Because I'm not, like I said, man, I don't have a lot of run-ins with the law, but I'm pretty sure coked up and a firearm, I'm pretty sure those don't go well together. I don't know. I don't watch NCIS, so I don't know how all this plays out. I'm just saying, yikes. Bell.
I don't know if Georgia is an open carry state or not. I don't think it is. That's gonna be the factor with the firearm that's gonna play in, is are they or are they not?
You know what? I would love to prosecute this case. I'm not a lawyer. I know dick about law. I know nothing. All right. I'm not that guy. I would love to prosecute this case because I could prosecute this case with his own live streams. I would say, hi, this is my name, and I'd hit play. And when we're all done, I would say to the jury, thank you for your consideration. And I would win. I would absolutely win, because what you don't want to do is exactly what he did. I am out of my mind. I don't negotiate with terrorists. I'm going to get my Lambo back. I'm not afraid of you. And yeah. And then you show up at his house with a gun and you're on coke. It's just bad optics. Bell, please carry on.
Stephen Douglas regarding Eric's live read tonight. That's an 11 on a 10 scale. Great work, Eric.
Eric, round of applause, dude. I've never gotten an 11. I've never gotten even close to that. Well done, sir. Bell, carry on.
All right, Luke chiming in. BitBoy is going to self-implode.
I kind of think he already did. I'd ask Eric, but apparently Eric is too busy building. Is that what you're doing, Eric? You're too busy building to pay attention?
No, Scott, I'm actually trying to get you kicked from your channel as well. Follow the whole BitBoy
You can get me kicked from my channel. You know, I do have an ace in the hole, though. See, because I'm familiar with Web3 and I'm very familiar with Akash. So you can demonetize me, and it will cost me about $65 a month because that's all this channel earns. It's about $65 a month. But tomorrow I will be on an Akash server located in Croatia using Owncast, and I'll be live streaming from www.ThePodocasts.com. There is nothing you can do to take this microphone away from me. How does that make you feel, Eric, Mr. Government Guy?
Absolutely terrible. But if somehow somebody does deplatform you for a while, and obviously you don't want to negotiate with terrorists, the way to negotiate with terrorists is to show up coked out with your girlfriend and a gun.
Because there you go. I got a drum fill. Carry on, Bell.
Yeah, I'm gonna tag off of Eric's point of, oh yeah, he's trying to take over the channel. Yeah, good luck, Eric.
Take me down.
Bring it.
You know,
it's not Scott you'll have to deal with. It's going to be me.
You need Russell Brand kind of numbers before you get on anybody's particular radar. I think I'm pretty free to say whatever I want. All right, guys. We have another sponsor here. Now, this one is, again, man, look, Belle puts in the work, all right? She goes out, she finds them. But one of our favorite sponsors, Tom, he likes to stay very, very current. He's a big fan of pop culture and what's going on over here. So he can get things out real quick. So to tell you all about our newest our newest product from our favorite sponsor, I give you, Belle, please, if you could, take it away and tell everybody.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, have you had it right up to here with the BitBoy saga? Seen enough? Had enough? No, you have not. So for our newest product offering from one of our favorite and only sponsors, Tom of Tom's Bag of Broken Glass, comes the newest sensation that will be sweeping the crypto world. It's the BitBoy talking bobblehead. Have you ever wanted to smack him a bit? Now you can. And he smacks back with colorful lines such as, I have the proof. And I'm not afraid of you, TJ. And the classic, I don't negotiate with terrorists. This puppy is also Bluetooth and AI ready, so it can be updated on the fly with, Cassie is in the car. My wife knows, and she's cool with it. As well as, I have a gun in the back seat. Stop waiting for Twitter to tell you what you want to know. Just smack the big boy talking bobblehead and he will smack you back. Half of the proceeds will go to the BitBoy Fight the Power Fund. So just so you know, you are supporting the man who has done so much for crypto. Supplies are limited, so order now. And don't forget the podcast coupon code, hit me, you big silly ass, for 12% off your order. Do it now. Order now, and we'll be right back.
ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, cats and kittens, welcome back to the podcast. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm sorry, man. We were giggling off air there for a second. Belle got through it. Eric lost it on the podcast coupon code, and that's kind of silly to me, man, because we've been using that forever. All right, Belle, we got money
to be fair, Eric was actually freaking losing it when I was slapping the BitBoy bubble.
Is that what popped him? I don't get to see.
That's what started it, and then he lost it with the coupon code.
I don't get to see any of that. I'm on a different frame, so I don't see what Belle sees, but that is great. All right, Belle, look, we got some money that we got to get to. I do want to give some context tonight, so
we've
sum
got
them up,
two
whatever
comments.
we got. Okay.
So Ethan Wood, inflatable mistress sold separately. Yeah, that needs to be added into that commercial.
And you get a round of applause, sir. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
And Joshua Knight saying, I'd buy one.
You know what? And that was a funny thing. We were joking about that on Discord. And I was like, you know what? That thing would sell. People would buy that. They would absolutely buy it just to hear some whatever silly bullshit he comes up with from day to day, man. I think that would be absolutely epic. Okay. What do we want to do here, guys? Do we want to do some money, or do we want to do an Astrovault update? What do we want to do? I don't want. Eric doesn't pay us shit, and I know I still have my ghost, my man crush that still follows me around. That's your shout out, by the way, babe. And you know, I get you want to make posts about me, and that's fun, man. Look, anybody who's up here on camera is going to be open to ridicule. That's fine. I can take it. You're not my first stalker, but dude, why would you take it down? You know what? If you say it, stand by it. At least before I respected you. Now you got nothing, man. Now you're out there trying to get clout by bashing somebody who has about 20 people on their live stream, man. So I'm just saying, maybe refocus, go after somebody bigger. But if you're going to quote me, be accurate. That's all I have to say about that. Aside from that, I think it's great. I've been broadcasting for about 25 years. I started long time ago at 98.6 FM KUPD in Phoenix, Arizona. About 25 years ago. So what I'm saying is I've been doing this a long time. One of the things that we do more than anything else, I don't do it here. I've never done it in crypto, but I might start because it's fun. What we do more than anything else is monetize haters. So if you understand what I'm saying about this, is the more you hate me, the more you listen, the more you post, the more free publicity that you give me. And that's called monetizing haters. We've been doing it forever. Dude, it is nothing personal to me. Nothing personal to me. I don't care. But as long as you care, that's what's important. So if you're going to post up on the Osmo forum, post that. Thank you. Belle, we got anything, or are we just getting into some money?
We do have a couple. Luke asking, what about the new Atom tokenomics that's been offered? Introducing a burn mech and a tax on staking an LP.
Oh, I'm putting this straight over to Eric, man. He reads into this stuff a hell of a lot more than I do. Eric!
Oh, man, I just got a chance to skim it earlier today. I needed to do a full deep dive. From what I gathered, it does have dynamic taxes, which is good. That's something that I believe, the first to suggest close to a year ago. I've been trying to say, like, we've got community pool taxes. You should do something like tax the top validators more, tax the bottom validators less. So he actually incentivizes you to lower or raise the Nakamoto coefficient, delegate to, validators that have less people, like centralize it less. Once you do that, it's actually more secure. Then you don't have to inflate as much to pay for security, all that kind of jazz. It doesn't look like they're quite going in that direction, but something similar to it. So like based on the new liquid staking module, they'll have like kind of almost like dynamic lending rates for like a tax for using that. So I'll dive in more to it, and then I'll have a bunch more content ready for it. In general, seems more like a step in the right direction than Atom 2.0 was, which was terrible, but a lot more could be done.
Wait, I want you on record right here. This is for my stalker, man. I want you on record for when he posts this to the Osmo. Are you saying tax the rich? Is that what you're saying? Go ahead, man. Look, you're full screen. Look, there you go. Are you saying tax the rich?
No, I am
saying... You
just
did, though, dude.
I am saying secure the chain. If you're incentivizing security, actually do that, because that's what we say we're doing, and we're not. Right now, we're giving a bunch of money to the rich. Just give less money away in general, and do that by taxing the higher validators more. taxing the inactive validators more. Taxing the ones whose participants, whose delegates aren't voting directly in governance proposals, because then that would incentivize the validators to actually give comms to their community and to not just wield all the governance power that they have and shouldn't, but everybody of them makes more money if they all actively participate, if they all actively care about the DAO. There are a lot of really cool things that we could do to make this a better and cohesive ecosystem, and the people that are running it right now wouldn't advantage from it, and so we're not seeing it happen.
No, and you're never going to, man. Look, but I'm positive tonight, all right, dude? I'm not going to start attacking Adam, all right? Adam's great. It's going to save us all. I'm not going to start doing that. I'm not going to point out that we have become what we used to be. Behold, I'm not going to point that out. I'm not going to do any of that stuff. I'm positive tonight, man. All right, Adam is great. Adam is absolutely wonderful. I ladder in and out of Adam all the time, and it makes me a lot of money. But I just don't do it via validator. Anyway, Belle, please carry on.
All right, Mad Sad Lab. Why don't you like Uniswap?
Why don't I never said I don't like Uniswap. We're kind of a Cosmos channel. That's where we spend most of our time. But no, there's no real other decks that I don't like. I think Thor is awesome. I think Uniswap is awesome, man. Look, if I ever want to play the meme coin game, that's typically where I go to do it, because the only meme coin we have in the Cosmos is in fact meme, and it's even my risk tolerance isn't enough to buy something like that. So crypto's, oh man, do I want to go? Yeah, you know what? Hell with it. I'll say go this way. There's a lot of dumb money in crypto. There's a lot of very, very dumb money in crypto. And if you want to maximize your percentage of profits, typically you're going to have to go where the dumb money goes, because they don't know, because they don't care, because to them it's simply a gamble, and they don't mind being exit liquidity for somebody like me, somebody like Eric, even though he won't admit it. They don't mind being exit liquidity for us. So we just don't have that in the Cosmos, because typically the Cosmos investor, and based on the value of the tokens over here, the Cosmos investor tends to be a little bit more informed, a little bit more intelligent, a little bit more realistic about what is possible out here. That's why meme tokens fail out here. That's why bad chains bleed off out here. That's why all of these things happen out here, because Cosmos actually developed very, very smart investors. That's why all these things are bleeding off, because typically a lot of these are really, really bad projects. I'd bring Eric on and just let him talk about block space and leasing block space and how much is actually available versus how much we're paying for it. But that's a separate rant for a separate day. But no, I never said I didn't like Uniswap. I never said I didn't like Thor. I never said I didn't like Camelot, Arbitrum, Ethereum. I've never backed away from Uniswap. Yeah, I'm just saying is that we're more or less a Cosmos channel, so we tend to focus on Cosmos projects. Belle, please carry on.
All right, Mad Sad Lab saying, my apologies. I assumed as such because I never see you on it. Fair.
Oh no, dude!
I think that's fair.
Dude, I got money everywhere. You would have it's tough. Belle actually manages a lot of this stuff for me, because she'll remind me. She'll say, hey, you got money cooking on Uniswap. Oh, do I? I forgot about it. And then she brings me on. That's why she gets paid so well. Belle, carry on.
Mad Sad Lab. Eric, how do I acquire the airdrop?
LP on Astrovault. Trade on Astrovault, you get some nice bonuses, but LP is the best way to do it. If you trade, obviously the Gravitate turns into AXV, but if you trade in ULP, get a little bit more.
Hey, have you thought about turning the Gravitate in and let me redeem that for merchandise?
We have. You'd have a wonderful time talking with Steph about it. In fact, if you get to go up to Tennessee, November 4th, we'll be presenting. We're sponsoring NFT Nashville to go talk about some of the NFT utility we bring, and some of that correlates to a merch store that will do some cool things. So
no, yeah, I myself won't be there, but I'm seriously considering funding Belle for a trip. Belle, would you be willing to go up there for this? Would you go up there and represent the podcast? We've never even talked about it. This is the very first time I'm even mentioning it. If I fund your trip, would you be willing to go up there for this?
Well, yeah, I actually would, because it also gives me an excuse to, see my aunt, which is great.
Okay, I'm going to fund you to go up. So the podcast will be represented at NFT Nashville. I can't go because I'm working, but I would love to see some representation there, because Amuse should be live by then. Belle, am I mistaken about the date?
You're not mistaken.
Okay.
The boys are saying that, yeah, at least the Dropbox portion it should be live by then. So yeah.
Yes, and for those of you who are wondering, Amuse is it's basically a blockchain Dropbox for data storage. That's all it is, man. Look, I'm not going to pump it up or hype it up. You guys, if you're familiar with the channel, you know what we're building here. It's a drag and drop, and it all ends up right here. I'm not allowed to really talk about it, but it all ends up right here. So if self-custody is important to you, if privacy is important to you, if all these things are important to you, but you want the ease of use of any Web2 app, Amuse. Bell, please carry on.
All right. So Bud asking, when Astrovelt airdrop?
It's a great question. All to get you with is soon. We are hoping to make it real soon. Some partnership discussions want it to be a little bit less soon to get some audits and other stuff taken care of first. We'll keep you guys posted as soon as we can.
Can you discuss?
We can't yet.
Can you discuss the potential partnership? You can't even say the name yet, can you?
I can't yet.
Dick,
as soon as I can,
said
we will.
Oh, I'm so disappointed.
Oh.
Bell, carry on.
All right, Luke, in the last bull run, most top 20 never reached the 2017 all-time high, but still returned to 10x from lows. Can still make good money in shit projects depending on buy price. Side-eye Juno.
You know, it gets really, really rough here when we start talking about what you have to understand about the last run. This is what we're all talking about is the big moment, the 2020, 2021, 22 is, guys, this was a tech bubble. Now, these are not new. They're not beautiful. They're not unique. Well, they're beautiful if you know what you're looking at. I knew what I was looking at. Thank you. But they're not unique. All right. And it's approximately every 20 years or so, we're going to have this big tech revolution, and it forms a bubble. I mean, that's all it is. Now, Eric is literally our economist, and I'm sure he could talk about tech bubbles for days. But we saw this back in 2000. All right. We saw this with cell phones. We saw this with automobiles. We saw this with every time there is some kind of big tech innovation, a bubble forms. All right. This is normal. Now, crypto had its bubble. The problem that most people don't seem to recognize or simply can't come to grips with is that once the bubble occurs, the bubble's not coming back. Now, what you need to be interested, because there were a couple projects that formed during the early 2000 bubble, which was the very first time that I lost $1 million in 3 days. The second time I did it was SIFChain, but the very first time I ever did it was back in 2000. And there were some excellent products that came out of the tech bubble. One of them, many of them, you're familiar with them right now. NVIDIA, Microsoft. These are all things that Amazon. These are all things that came out of the tech bubble or were formed very, very shortly after, because now people can see what's possible. Crypto is going to be the same thing. All right, many of these tokens are going to die. Your old all-time highs are never going to be achieved. All right, it happened. It will not come back, and you're done, because this is the nature of tech bubbles. This is the nature of bubbles in general. So the thing you need to be looking at now are the projects that are over here right now that are using this type of decentralization as innovation for their projects going forward. Now, I have my personal picks. I know which ones are going to be doing this because I've already been through this. I've already been through these bubbles. All right, I've seen it before. I will see it again 20 years from now when something new comes along. I'll see it then too, if I'm still alive. Probably not. I drink a lot. But the infrastructure projects that are forming up right now using decentralization as their basis, and if you combine that idea with what I just talked about during my monologue, you might see why I am so passionate about these, because these are the projects that live and boom coming out of a bubble like this. And then 10 years from now, everything that builds off from them, because they finally see what can be possible. You're a Cash, love it. Your Jackal, love it. Your Kudos to certain extent, love it. Your VeChain, you never hear me talk about VeChain, but VeChain is doing something with NFTs that should only be the sole purpose of NFTs, not art, not subjective, but actually objective value, something that like VeChain is doing. These things are what are going to be bringing these things out. This is the thing, the powerhouses coming out of these. Not Peppy, not meme coins, not even Bitcoin. but the actual utility projects that are monetized. Now, that's just the way I see it, but maybe, Eric, do you have a different opinion of this? Because if you do, sir, the floor is yours.
Not so much. Love VeChain, love all the ones you mentioned. I do think that Bitcoin is one of the very important use cases to come out of this, even if it's not indefinitely good. Short to midterm, it should be great as kind of an FU to the government as we see hyperinflation take over everywhere.
Sure.
Additionally, we are going to reach a level of maturity where crypto companies are businesses because they haven't been, and that's really, really weird. And in tech bubbles, you always can do this kind of like almost indefinite float where it's like, oh, cool, I'm starting an AI project. I have no idea how I'm going to monetize it. That turns into ChatGPT. But, they raise $1 billion from Elon Musk while they're a nonprofit, and then they screw them over as they go public. Either way, there is an idea of like, cool, we're just going to build new tech and figure it out later. But a lot of the things exist as middleware right now, and they don't have business modeling like their purpose is to facilitate the growth of something big. And if they can't monetize right now, then there's no way that they can monetize in the future. And so you're talking about like, why doesn't Scott like Uniswap? I don't like Uniswap. They have a $4.2 billion valuation and they make no money. They have no revenue. That's wild. They burn $23.1 million worth of ETH in a single month, and Uniswap token holders get nothing. That's wild. So, I mean, until you figure that kind of thing out, which is why we build Astrovault, because something better than that needs to exist. But until this kind of stuff gets figured out, stay away from the middleware and look for the things that are going to have real world solutions that are monetizable, that are businesses that have means to operate at a profit. I've been diving into the Jackal numbers really heavily this past week, and like everyone knows they've been operating at a loss, but I don't think they fully understood what it takes to make it at a profit. And there are ways to get there, and we're going to push that to happen. Involves pushing the sales. A little bit less building, a little bit more sales, running it like a business. And we're going to make that happen. But we need more things that can make that happen. You have to be able to sell something, or at least be building something that you'll eventually be able to sell, not just build something that's open source that other people are going to sell in the future, because that's what we're seeing a lot of.
And that's kind of crypto in general, man. Like it's the bulk of these, and I'm gonna say I'm gonna most statistics are made up on the spot, so I'm gonna make one up. I'm gonna say 85%, and I think that's being generous, of the crypto projects that exist right now are simply hobbies. They're neat ideas that have no idea how to actually monetize. That's it. So you have your influencers, you have your hypers, you have YouTube, you have all this stuff that will push them over the top, but they have no inherent value to themselves because there's no way to monetize them. Now, that's what I look at as an investor, is how can this be monetized? And that's all I look at as a long-term investor. I'm more than happy to take advantage of dumb money. All right, that's what I do. That's what every smart investor does, is take advantage of dumb money. All right, if you don't know what the greater fool theory is, you really need to look. I see Eric smiling right now. You really need to look that up, dude. It's important, because if you don't know what the greater fool theory is, odds are good you're the greatest. I'm sorry, man. It is what it is. But we do a YouTube,
or all your friends look it up. You need to be the first one to look it up.
But we do a YouTube channel illustrating these things. The greater fool theory, monetization, psychic money, all of these other things. We do a YouTube channel trying to educate on things like that. I don't care, man. Look, you guys, you do you. I'll do me, and we'll see how it works out. But, there you go. All right, Bell, we're kind of coming to the end of this thing here. I could do this all night, by the way. Man, I am fired. I don't even feel like we got started tonight, man. I'm ready to go. But, Bell, do we got any other last-minute questions, comments, concerns, observations?
We do. So Stephanie Wood also applying the peer pressure, going, yes, Bella, come to NFT Nashville with us.
There you go. Round of applause. You'll see Bell there. Are you going to wear a Podcast t-shirt? I think everybody will know who you are, whether or not you wear a Podcast t-shirt. But I'd like you to wear a Podcast t-shirt. Come on.
Maybe. We'll talk. All right. So, Bud, Scott, do you want to buy my Juno OTC at 40 cents? The deal I'm offering.
Did you see that tweet? Eric, we talked about this, dude. I'll tell you what. I'll put this out to anybody who wants to buy Juno at 40 cents. I will sell you all you want. All right. How much do you need? Do you need $8 million worth? I promise you I will give you $8 million worth right now if you'll buy it at 40 cents. I'm not sure, man. Look, this is literally confusing. Eric, you did see this because we talked about this, right?
there's enough liquidity on Juno that to buy the price up to 40 cents, they could probably spend like 400 grand, 500 grand to get it up to that price, buying more Juno than that. And like, oh, this deal's been in the works. For this to make sense, they would have to spend 600 grand to buy the Juno at 40 cents, and then also spend another, like, I don't know, 800 grand, $1 million to get the price up to like 60 cents to make it anywhere near worthwhile, and you have no liquidity. Like, this would be a full takeover by, some unnamed entity. I honestly believe that it was just some kind of like hopeful pump of like, oh, we're trying to raise it higher than this. Hopefully the community buys in and gets the price up to 40 cents, and then we could pull it off. I don't think a real entity it would go through with this. I don't like, as far as I know, like, I believe Reese is a trustworthy guy. I'm sure there was some entity that was looking into this at some point in time. I don't think the deal goes through. And the community seems to be on board as the price of Juno dumped another like 12-15% today. Like, I don't think
did you
they
see
think
that?
that
That was
real.
fantastic, dude. I'll tell you what, man, right now, between me, you, podcast, audience, if I saw value in Juno, if I saw that this thing has the potential, I don't believe it does. I think it's a parking lot. But if I saw the value in Juno that I could completely buy the chain, which I really realistically could for $400,000 to $500,000, I would buy the chain for $400,000 to $500,000. I would absolutely do that. But there would be a lot of changes that are coming in on top of this. And I don't think anybody would be cool with it, because all of a sudden it would be, oh, hell, don't build on Juno. There are so many restrictions. They insist that you are actually monetizable before you build on there. It would no longer be permissionless, all right? Because I'm going to have to see the who, what, when, where, why, and how of everything that is going to be representing my brand that I own. So I'm not sure what they have going on, or if I understand what an OTC is. I like to think I do. But there is something very, very sketchy going on here. I'm going to stay out of it because I want to plant flowers now. We're a positive group. But honestly, if I saw that kind of value, I would have bought it. All right. I would have bought Juno. And then when you talk about Juno, you're talking about me. Take that to Osmo, to the Osmo Reddit. Belle, please carry on.
All right, David Dahl, what's Astrovault's link?
Oh, all you, babe.
Astrovault.io.
All right, easy. Easy. All right, Luke, Eric needs to start a Cosmos channel, dude. Is funny, knowledgeable, and unashamedly shill. Love to have a pint and a burger with him.
Thank you. But if I started a channel, it would go on for only a little while, and then you'd have to have a pint and burger with me in jail after I coked out, go for my Lambo again.
Attaboy, man. That's the way
trying
to
to delay
do it,
the inevitable.
If you're
I'll
gonna
just get on Scott's every now and then.
If you're gonna self-destruct, dude, self-destruct for views. Belle, carry on.
Mad Sad Lab, Eric, do you have any speculation for GitHub's potential for people to harvest other people's code?
Ooh.
Yes. Yes. I mentioned like either have something that's monetizable now or be building something that's monetizable in the future. Last time I heard this stat, which was like 3 months ago or so, over 60% of all code that had been written was written by AI. So AI comes out like with a new model that's like really usable, like, I don't know, 5-6 months before that, and boom, because it can build apps like when a couple commands. And so now it's probably more like 80 or 90% and going up from there. That with all this open source code, people are just going to make single requests and build your entire application with one command. We get asked all the time, like, oh, why isn't Astrovault open source? I'm like, do you see what's going on right now? Like, this is not safe. Not only do you not retain intellectual property, but this is not safe. And now GitHub and AI is going to own all of your code, and people are useless. Like, it's really, really scary. Especially, I mean, I've been nervous about GitHub ever since they took down Tornado Cash's repo. Like, they get, indicted for something which they didn't even do wrong. They built like a protocol that anybody could use. And they're like, oh, you were laundering money. They weren't laundering money.
No.
They built a protocol that was open source. Like, literally anybody had access to it. Anybody can recreate it. And GitHub got rid of not just Tornado Cash, but everything these developers have ever built. And you know that they still have access to this information, but all of these people's lifelong work that they paid to even have access on GitHub just got taken away unilaterally. If they can make and have shown willingness to make that decision, that is so scary going forward.
I know. Should we read some more of the law? Should we do that? We're not going to do that right now. Come on, Belle, wrap us up.
That was actually the last one for the moment.
Perfect. I'll go big screen for a minute. Guys, look, again, I understand that the political part is not terribly interesting. It is incredibly important to me because I base a lot of decisions around this, around my own political philosophy when it applies to crypto. So I just want you guys to understand where I'm coming from. That's really all it is, man. I'm not trying to ram it down your throat. It would be best if you don't care for something like this to tune in about 10 minutes after we go live, because I'm going to keep doing it. It's important to me. We're a monetized channel, but not really. You can see how many tips we get. So I'm going to continue to do it because I just like it. I think it's important, and I think it's that people understand. It's a general, it's an overall philosophy that takes into consideration every factor and every force that is working against you to try to become victorious over here in crypto. So I'm going to keep sharing it just so that you understand where I'm coming from. But anyway, guys, look, that is it. Eric, you get 30 seconds. Talk up anything that you want to talk up, sir. Floor is yours.
We were right. Everyone who said we weren't right was wrong. Come be on the right side and LP and start trading on Astrovault. Let's take this over together. Hostile takeover. No, save the old dead projects that have more than 10x our market cap already, that are provably failing and grasping for straws because they're way too late to change. Be on the front. Be the least great fool.
The least grateful, and we'll flash over to the Osmo screen again because I know exactly who you're talking about.
Let's just lead a revolt of actual products that can make real businesses and bring about what got us all excited about Web3, like stuff where you can own your own data, where you can make a difference, where you are safe from government censorship, and you can do what you want with your money without having to be an accredited investor. Like that's really the goal of all this. And by doing so, by succeeding in this capacity, it opens up this whole Web 2.5 where actual online businesses can use this for the back end of financial handling, no longer rely on big banks for corporate loans, but you can now crowdsource liquidity in a way that's profitable instead of costing you money. There's so much cool shit that can be done once it's done right. And nobody else is doing it, so we just do it ourselves. It's working. Anyone who thought we were crazy, we might be, but we're right about this. So come give Astrovault a shot.
You know, until we get rid of the Bit Boys, who are going to get rid of themselves, by the way. I love cocaine. I've never done it, but I love the effect that it seems to have on humans. You can laugh it up, dude. It's good for you. All right, Belle, talk us up. Talk us out, guys. I had a wonderful time. Get us out of here, Belle.
All right. Again, ladies and gentlemen, as always, we cannot say thank you guys enough for joining us tonight. Keep the fantastic comments and questions coming. They do keep us on our toes and they do make us think. Now, with that being said, we are going to be going on not tomorrow night, but next Wednesday at our normal time of 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. In between now and then, if you guys have any comments, questions, or concerns, definitely don't hesitate to email Scott or myself, Scott@ThePodocasts.com or Bella@ThePodocasts.com, and we'll get those answered for you. Again, guys, we can't say thank you enough, and we'll see you next time.
We are dropping new videos and podcasts every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday. And be sure to look for us on Instagram, Twitter, and Parler at ThePodocasts. Also, visit our page at ThePodocasts.com, all one word, for all of our most current content.